gang.
Spontaneous trip to Wyoming. Yes. The last time we went to Wyoming, we got engaged. Unfortunately, unless we decide to elope and get married in some Wyoming courthouse, nothing as equally exciting will be happening this weekend.
Unless we decide.
We need to do a how we met story. Start to finish. Everything. You go first because you went on your mission first.
I served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I left January 2022 to the coldest place on earth.
I left November 2022. Also to the coldest place on earth, Edmonton, Canada.
Missions is kind of broken up geographically. You got like 150 or so missionaries in that area, and you have a mission president, an older guy, not a teenager like us. The missionaries are broken down into like different areas called zones, and then districts inside of those zones. So missionaries, you serve as a companionship, so it's you and another missionary, and then every 6 weeks you have the chance of switching around, but sometimes you don't.
And that time period is called transfer.
So each zone has 2 zone leaders, is what they're called, and 2 STLs, or sister training leaders. And each district will have 1 district leader over that district.
So, in my 4th transfer, I was serving in the young single adult congregation. So I'd been out for almost 6 months. I was just like in a kind of like a sweet spot, like comfort zone in my mission, and I was really young, and so everyone around me that I served around, I like looked up to a lot. Not young like age-wise, but young like in the mission. There was a transfer that my companion and my district leader and my district leader's companion all got transferred and left the zone, and I was so sad. We used to get like an email of the whole transfer board, which basically has a picture of you and your new companion and wherever you're going. I opened it and I looked at my new district, and my district leader was just some rando. Elder Peterson. I was like, who the?
You could just stop right here.
I was like, who is this rando elder? He looks like a nerd. I don't really want to get to know any more missionaries because I was so heartbroken when they got transferred. So I was like, I'm not making any more friends. I don't even care who it is. He'll just be like my random district leader now.
So I've been out 15 months. I found out I was going to go to YSA, so I replaced the district leader. So I was her district leader. Once a week, you do a thing called district council. You go over like your goals, you go over like the people you're teaching, and then the district leader will give different trainings. Twice a week, I would call the different missionaries in my stewardship, kind of just like check up on how they are.
When I say, who is this random elder, I am not joking. I had literally never heard of him before, never seen him around, never interacted with him, was never serving around him. His transfer board picture kind of did him dirty.
That's a very bad picture.
Looked like a nerd. I thought he was just gonna be some socially awkward, like, weirdo. The first like 2 or 3 weeks of the transfer, I was like, wait, is he cute? Before I came to the realization that I was in fact in love with him. We had one of our first stewardship calls. It was April 13th, 2023. April 13th, 2023. I was driving. We were pulling into our apartment parking lot, and our district leader calls. The day before in district council, something funny had happened. We were laughing about it.
Our companion, Sister Paul, and I were going off. Teo was just sitting there enjoying and laughing.
This very same water bottle.
Also legendary water bottle.
We were parked at this point, and now I was just laughing at their jokes. Things had kind of like calmed down, and I thought that we were done joking. I thought we were done laughing. So I take a sip of my water bottle. He cracks another joke on the phone, and I'm mid-drink. It goes down the wrong tube. I'm choking of my life. Literally did not have airflow for probably 15 to 20 seconds. And I threw up. My body was like, we need to get this out of your body right now. So, the worst, not like a normal throw up noise. Like I am about to die and this is saving my life noise. It was the ugliest noise I have ever heard and or made in my whole life. And I just throw up all over my pants, all over the car, like down the middle. It's like on the floor and I am just freaking out. And I'm basically there, I throw up and as soon as I have airflow, I'm like, hang up, hang up, hang up. So Sister Paul just hangs up the phone.
I didn't hear any of it. I was just making pancakes at like 9:30 at night, and then they just like stopped talking. And I was like, what's going on? And then they just hang up. I was like, what? It's like, that was weird.
I am like frozen in shock. And because I'd been on exchanges, I had like a pair of sweatpants with me from like what I slept in. And so I changed into sweatpants just in the parking lot because I just threw up all over my pants. I'm like standing in the parking lot or whatever, and I'm like seconds away from bursting into tears. I thought I was just gonna die. Like I legitimately thought I was going to die. Sister Peggy and Sister Rice call us, and Sister Paul answers the phone. She's like, one of you has to come out here and get Sister Bonnie before she has a meltdown. And almost immediately at that moment, I'm like, and I started crying. That was first of all so terrifying, and second of all so embarrassing. No one can ever tell Elder Peterson what just happened. I was like, we are never telling anybody what just happened. This can never leave the quad. Elder Peterson calls, we're just saying, call dropped. The next morning, Elder Peterson thinks, maybe I should check in on those sisters. That was kind of weird last night. He calls, and I answer, and I say, you'll never guess what happened to me last night. And I immediately tell him.
I was dying. I thought it was the funniest thing ever.
The transfer moves on, and I'm still in the midst of like, is Elder Peterson cute? What's his personality? Can't really figure that out. One day, he rolls up to district council and delivers the most amazing training I've ever heard. First of all, the content of the training was like so good. Second of all, delivered it like so confidently, like exactly like I know exactly what I'm talking about. This is what I've been studying, this is what I'm learning, this is my training, I'm confident in this, I'm just gonna deliver it like I've been doing this my whole life. I was like, in that moment, I was like, okay, he is actually the love of my life. But as a missionary, you can't really do anything about it because you don't like date as a missionary. However, I did write songs about my feelings still. So I wrote this song called Out of Left Field, and I finished it like days before the end of the transfer.
It's pretty rare to be in one area only for one transfer. But we got transfer news and I was leaving.
He went to Red Deer, did you say that already? And I was staying in YSA. So I was like, well, that's probably for the best. The next transfer, I get transferred to a zone called Sherwood Park, and I whitewashed into this area. Me and my companion, we had both been there for 3 transfers, so we didn't know which one of us was going to be leaving. Transfer news comes, and I'm staying, and Sherwood Park has a new zone leader, and it's none other than the infamous Elder Peterson. I was like, no. Why does it have to be him? Why does he have to be our zone leader right now? And I was like, am I gonna tell my companion that I used to have a fat, big, major, debilitating crush on Elder Peterson? I don't know. And then the next day after transfers, I was like, okay, I need to tell you something.
I guess I can give preface on how I thought about Taya, Sister Bowen. Cool, Sister Bonnie's in the district. That'll be good. She's a great missionary. It'll be fun. I enjoy spending time with her. I thought Taya was cute, but like we were friends, and that's kind of all I really thought about it. I thought she was a great missionary, and so I pushed her and kind of challenged her to be better.
For the first like 2 weeks of the transfer, I really felt like I could not talk to him and be normal. But he doesn't notice that. He thought I was just being the same. In my head, I was like barely talking to him and like avoiding him like the plague, and trying so hard to make it not obvious that I liked him, because it wasn't the time for that. This was November 13th, 2023. Every Monday is kind of like our errands day, where you like kind of have your day off and like do the stuff that you need to get done. And on this day we have sports with our district, so we were playing basketball and I was guarding him, and he went for like a normal shot. I went to like block the shot, like jumped forward to like close out.
Landed on her foot, and my right foot just went and I fell. If you ever like stretch out a rubber band really far and then like when it snaps, it felt like that on my ankle in like 3 spots. I feel like I like tried to stand up and like walk it off and just like fell on the ground, and I was like, oh no. It hurt so bad.
We're back. Our battery died. Up until that point, after I broke his ankle, I was kind of just like, whatever. That was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And all the stress just went out, because I'm like, it can't get more embarrassing than what just happened. I still like had a major debilitating crush and still didn't want him to know I liked him and whatever. But I like talked to him more. He teased me a lot about breaking his ankle. I wrote 2 more songs that transfer. I would stay up with my companion every night. We were like scheming of how we were gonna make this happen post-mission. And I was like, I don't know if I actually want to ever try, because if I get denied, I think that I will be sad forever. But I was like, I don't know if I will do anything, but at that point I pretty much decided I would. Then he went home. You go to like the transfers. When transfers happen, everybody gathers at one like church and then leaves with who they're supposed to leave, and the people going home are there too, and they leave with the mission president, and they like say goodbye to everybody, and it's like a whole thing. This whole transfer, I knew that he was going home, and that transfers was my one opportunity to ask him for his email so that I could essentially shoot my shot. I don't like putting it that way, but I was so scared. I was terrified. I didn't think he was gonna say no. I think the things that I was nervous about was that when you ask someone for their email on the mission and you're not like best friends, they like pretty much know that you have a crush on them. The opportunity was presented to me like multiple times. Like we kept talking. We like talked to each other probably 3 times before I left.
Yeah. I was with one of my companions. We somehow went up to each other, and is that when you gave me back the phone? Can I get your email? Sure. Wrote it down. And then we just kind of kept talking about other things.
The vibes were very good. And I was so relieved after I got the email. Because once the vibes continued to be good, I was like, okay, that's good. He's not reading into it very much. And if he is, and he knows that I like him now, he's fine with it. To the extent that he doesn't feel awkward still talking to me right now. So I was just very happy and very excited. But now I had the challenge of like, okay, now I have to email him. But email had been secured. I was debating if I was gonna email him that Monday or the next Monday. And then I was like on Facebook and I saw, I think your mom's post. I was like stalking you. And I was like, okay, I need to give him a week. He just hugged his mom for the first time in 2 years. And then I emailed him. At one point, during that first day, he emailed something like, yeah, we should totally hang out when you get home. Or like, something like that. And I lost my shiz. I was so excited. I was so happy. I wasn't really sure how good of friends we were, to be fair.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even know if you'd like want to hang out even just as friends. So when you said that, I was like, this is the greatest message I've ever received in my life. The next week, you emailed me first.
I did?
You course. That's such a good sign. That means he actually wants to talk to me. The next week, I was going to send a voice memo. But then I kind of got caught up in like things I had to do early in the day. So I just sent a regular email. And then after like a couple emails back and forth that day, I get this email and there's an attachment on the email. But I was like, is this what I think it is? And I open it and it's a voice memo and I lost my shiz again.
My mindset coming home from my mission, I didn't really want to date at all for like the first while of being home, like at least 6 months, a year. I shouldn't want to date anyone. Just wanted to enjoy it, being single. But talking to cute girls is always fun. So I was enjoying it. She wasn't the only girl I was talking to. I think I told you that too.
You did. Week 4, Petey wasn't on a Monday like usual. It was on Saturday because I went to Jasper National Park. But I didn't want Monday to roll around and have him be confused at why I wasn't responding to him, and I didn't want to just like not talk to him. So I sent him an email. Hey, just want to let you know I'm in Jasper today, but like I still want to talk to you, so you should send me some voice memos for the drive home.
That was a good email. Her putting in effort and like still wanting to email me and talk to me, even though she was going on this trip. I think that was my first like week that I was like, I kind of like Taya. I kind of really like her. Made you a little podcast.
Then we emailed back and forth like my whole drive home, which was like 4 hours. As opposed to like week 2 when it was kind of just still like small talk and like the fluff kind of. It was like definitely more like real conversation. The next week or 2, we started like asking each other questions to like prompt what we'd say in our voice memos. So our voice memos went from like 5 minutes to like 20, 30 minutes each.
Started listening to your music during that time, thinking about you more. I kind of developed a little mini crush of my own on Taya. It was very surprising, very out of the blue. When I moved to Utah, I was working for my grandpa selling quilting machines for his business. You know, like conventions around the States. So this particular Monday, we were on a road trip to California. And so I was pretty like sure I liked Taya and wanted to date her and that kind of thing. But believe it or not, I really wasn't convinced that she liked me. Looking back, it's pretty obvious. You know, in the moment where this beautiful girl you have a crush on, and you're like, I don't know if she likes me though. This Monday, I was just in a car all day, so we emailed a lot. I told my grandpa that she makes music, and he said something about she should make me a song.
He was recording me a voice memo during that conversation, so I heard him say that.
And you said something like, I already have.
When I got that voice memo and I heard his grandpa say, oh, she should make you a song, I was like, is this my opportunity? Should I tell him? Until this point, I was pretty much like, unless we get engaged someday, I am never showing him any of these songs ever. Like ever, until there's literally a ring on my finger. If that ever happens, which I highly doubt it will. But this was like a really good opportunity for me to like naturally tell him.
I knew there was a song. But I didn't know what the song was about. So I said something like, is it a good song or like a diss track? Kind of thing, just like joking. What'd you say? Like, you can listen to it and find out or whatever.
Yeah, and I sent
it
the song
to me. And I kind of just like stared at it for like 5 minutes. Just like, what the crap is this song about me? By like a professional artist. And I finally grew a pair and listened to it. It's not a diss track. Like, it was just like this kind of crazy, unique way of like telling someone that you like them. Like, then like the rest of the day, everything else just kind of came out. Like, it was well established she liked me. She kind of told her side of the story of this whole thing, and I told mine of liking her more and more. And In a day, everything was on the table. And it was like the census. It was like, we're gonna see where this goes kind of thing. And then that night, so we drove to Nevada, Reno, that day. And we went to a movie. We didn't get out till like 1 in the morning. But the entire time, all I can think about is just this. I'm like, this is insane. Because it's so different from what I expected for my life. And I was like, I just need to pray. I just need to talk to the big man. So we got back to the hotel, and my grandpa like turns on the news or whatever, even though it's like 1 in the morning. So I pop in AirPods just to cancel everything out, and I prayed for probably like a good half hour, 45 minutes. Just like, what is happening? What should I do? That whole week, work sucked, but that whole week, I would just like listen to her audio recordings just on repeat, and like her songs on repeat, like my song and like her songs on Spotify and such. I was just like, anything Taya Bonnie related, I was consuming. It was a good feeling I've never experienced. I had told her that I would like send her an audio recording of like my side of like liking her and how that happened kind of thing. I knew hers, but I didn't say mine.
You gave me like a Spark Notes version.
Yeah. So I made like a legit like 15-minute or so recording of essentially falling in love with her. I didn't know it at the time, but and then sent it to her like on Sunday or something. And then that Monday we were just driving back from Reno. We just kind of like continued where we left off. I found out that there was like 5 more songs.
I had written a new one that week.
Yeah.
So there actually was 5 more.
So I listened to all of these songs and was like seriously like, am I going to spend the rest of my life with this woman? This is crazy. I haven't even held her hand. But it just felt really good. It felt right.
That week for me was like the greatest week of my life. I was chilling. I could tell something in his little cute brain was happening because all of a sudden he was like sending me little emails like midweek with like pictures of what he was doing, and he was like posting songs on his Facebook story that I like told him to listen to. He would like heart all my Facebook stories and like leave little messages in like my question box if I would put one on there. And then he sent me this email with his side of the story on like Sunday morning. And so I was like, wow, I think this boy's in love with me. This is crazy. That week, I had written another song about him. So I kind of had a similar feeling. Like, I feel like we're getting married. Like, there's like no logical way that I can like describe it. It just like felt like that was what's gonna happen. So the Monday comes along and I say, I wrote another song for you this week. And he's like, oh, I was thinking Out of Left Field needed a part 2. I was like, well, it's actually part 6. I actually have 5 more. And I said something in the voice memo like, I'm like really terrified to tell you this. I can't believe that I'm like actually even admitting this to you this early on. I just like hope you're not scared away by like this girl writing so many songs about you without you knowing for the past year. The night before and that morning, I was telling my companion and like my sister and her husband, this is really exciting. Like it seems like it's really gonna go somewhere. I'm just like really worried because he's going to school a couple hours away from me. So I don't really know how it's gonna even work out. I hadn't expressed that concern whatsoever to Aaron. And then he sent me a voice memo back in response to me being like scared to tell him about my songs. And he was like,
you can stop being like so scared to tell me stuff and send stuff. Obviously I like you and want to date you, and I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'll transfer schools, I don't really care about that. Like, we'll make it work so we can be together. So you can like stop stressing about it.
I heard that. I was like, you what? To be fair, there was like other things going on with the other school. Like it was expensive, you missed your scholarship deadline and stuff like that. But you were like, I'll transfer schools. Like, we're gonna be together. And I was like, what is happening?
Well, I didn't know that at the time.
Okay, so it was just...
Yeah, it was just straight up like, if I'm gonna do this, I'll just transfer schools.
Oh my god. You heard it here
switch schools.
I don't even know how marriage got brought up, but we started like making lots of like little references and like jokes about like being married in the future. I think both of us kind of just like put it in joke form because it felt scary to like actually be like, I've only emailed this person and seen them as a missionary and we're gonna get married. I think like 2 weeks before I got home, there was a voice memo from him that said, I can 100% see myself marrying you. We're pretty much like fully established we are getting married before I get home from the mission. I was supposed to go home on April 19th, 2024, but some conference came up that my mission president had to go to, so he sent my group home a week early, so I ended up going home on April 13th, which was exactly 1 year after I threw up on the phone on our stewardship call. We made things official via FaceTime that night I got home. It kind of just felt dumb to me to like pretend to do things in like a traditional pace when we already had like talked about getting married and like both knew that and felt good about it. We FaceTimed probably 3 times the day that I got home.
I was excited. I was so excited. But the problem was she is in the middle of nowhere, Montana, and I was in Utah. And it was a good like 10-hour drive between us. So we really didn't know for sure when we were going to see each other. But the plan was you were going to come down for like 2 weeks to see friends and me, of course. In what, May?
About a week after I got home, I went to Hawaii for like 3 weeks. We FaceTimed every single day, the whole trip, and the week before. So like, obviously my family noticed I was FaceTiming this one boy every single night. My dad very much like interrogated me. My dad and my brother. They're like, who's this Aaron guy? Like, what you playing with him? Like, do you see yourself getting married? Are you gonna kiss on the first date? I was like, yes and yes. And they were like, what? Mostly because I've never been that open with my relationships with my family. But I think from that, my dad definitely recognized that it was like a legit thing. So then we get home from Hawaii, and on the drive home from the airport, my dad was like, you should just move to Utah. Like, why aren't you going like tomorrow? And I was like, I don't know, I don't have a place to stay. Like, I've already changed my plans with friends a couple times, and I want to keep rescheduling. And my dad's like, we have relatives down there, just like move down there. I can get you a place to live. And so my dad like calls his cousin, and he's like, can Taya come live with you for the summer? His cousin's like, yeah, for sure. We have like a guest room in our basement. We found out like on a Sunday. I literally got up at 6 a.m. and drove to Utah the next day.
So I went from, I'm going to see her in like a month, and only for 2 weeks, and then she's going back for the whole summer, and then I'll see her again in like August. 2 in 1 day. Oh, she's coming tomorrow, and she's just going to stay.
I texted him and I said, I am moving to Utah tomorrow. And he called me on the spot and was like, are you kidding me? Is this real? And I was like, yes, I'm moving tomorrow. I'm packing right now. Obviously, we hung out that night and finally got to like see each other for the first time. It was May 13th, another 13th. That drive was the longest drive of my life. I was so excited and like kind of nervous. You were nervous.
Imagine the pressure. You're in love with this person that you know you're going to spend the rest of forever with. And you've seen them plenty of times. I've known her for over a year at this point. But it's like totally different context. You haven't seen her for 3 months, and now you're in love with her. You've never held hands, you've never hugged, you've never kissed, and then you're going to.
Like, the relationship completely changed from the first time I saw him to the next. It felt just like very right, very natural to be together. It was honestly like so special having a first kiss with someone who you already had fallen in love with.
It didn't feel like a first kiss.
It didn't. I felt like I'd kissed him a million times, but it was still like the excitement of a first kiss without like uncertainty and like discomfort and awkwardness. Like it was just completely comfortable.
She thought I was a bad kisser the whole time before that.
I did not, but it was a running joke. I was like, I don't even know if you're a good kisser. You're gonna be a bad kisser, and I'm stuck with you because we're gonna get married. He's not a bad kisser. Our plan was that we were gonna go to Wyoming together, like a week or so after I got to Utah to meet his family, which was terrifying. At this point, there were 9 songs. I'd written one more right before coming home from my mission, and then wrote 2 more. And Aaron had told his family about these songs. Your family's very chill. The scary part was, like, the day after I met his mom and dad, his mom was like, okay, Taya, I want to hear these songs that you wrote for him. Because the most recent song that I had written was called We're Getting Married. So it was gonna sound super crazy. I played all of these songs and I was so nervous because it's like it's like my journal. I'm like, okay, Aaron's mom, here's the 9 songs that I wrote about my deepest feelings about your son. I played them in chronological order, and his mom like made me tell her the stories behind like all the songs and like my feelings and what was happening. We get closer and closer to like the most recent song, and I'm looking at Aaron. I was like, am I playing it? Should I play it? Is it a good idea to play it? Are they gonna freak out? Like what's the vibes gonna be? He's like, just play it, just play it, just play it. You were nervous too.
Yeah, I'm telling my parents I'm getting married.
To a girl they met last night. So we get to it, and we don't tell them the title of the song. The verse is like, oh, like this has been a good relationship so far, whatever. Pre-chorus is like, but love is so scary, you either break up or get married. And then it goes, and we're getting married. I just flat out like, that's what I sing to them. So I sing them the song, and I could not look up for my lyrics. I was so scared, and I think I was sweaty. I was so nervous. I look up at the end of the song, and his mom's like crying, and like, I think this is a good cry. Mom's crying, and his dad's just like, well, congratulations, that's awesome. He's like, did you propose already? He's like, no.
My mom was just like bawling, just tears. And my dad was just like super happy and supportive. So it was like very surprising. What did my mom say? She said something.
Yes, I was just about to say that. We had already decided that we're getting married in December. So there's a reference to that in the song. We hadn't like picked a day yet. I said something like, we have Christmas time plans with your side of the family. And his brother is on a mission right now and is coming home in December. And she said something after the song. She's like, I knew I'd have my son back for Christmas, but I didn't know I'd have a new daughter. I was like, wow.
It was cute.
It was very cute. That night we were like getting ready for bed. It was like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And neither of us could sleep whatsoever. And we just like stayed up together and just like were freaking out because we're like, I can't believe like it's like real. Like your parents, like both of our parents know about it, because I'd already told my parents that we were gonna get married. It was just like a very surreal night. We like went on a walk around your block
3 in the morning.
at 3 in the morning, and we just like were laughing and just like having a great time. So July, we drove up to Montana and we visited my parents, and my parents were just very down to earth, chill. They already knew we were getting married, so it wasn't like a huge deal. It's not like we were having a conversation with them like this is gonna happen. We had picked a date at this point. Decided we're getting married December 13th. 13 is obviously a very important number to us because all of our weird little things happened. And we are aware that we're getting married on Taylor Swift's birthday. And that's not intentional. I do appreciate that very much, but it's not intentional. It just was the day that like happened to work out and feel right and be like the number 13. And his brother doesn't get home from his mission until December. So it was just like the way that it had to be. It just happens to be Taylor Swift's birthday, which I think is God's little nod to me, like, this is
Oh my gosh. I already had the ring before the Montana trip. She just sent me like pictures of stuff that she liked and ideas, and I chose my own ring for her, which I think is pretty impressive.
It is.
She didn't know what the ring was. She also didn't know when I was going to propose.
Except I kind of did. Because
It had to be on a 13th.
It had to be a 13th.
Obviously. And she would have killed me if it was later than August.
Yeah. It was early, but it also was like, we already know we're getting married. We're already planning the wedding. We already have a date. So, like, there's no point in waiting to get engaged just for the sake of waiting.
The 13th ended up being, what, Saturday? We were going to go down to Wyoming for a weekend. And my sister is a senior in high school, so the preface was that Taya and I were going to go help them with senior pictures. So Taya would all be dressed up nice, I'd be dressed up nice, and then I would propose there. But Taya is a little detective and saw right through it.
Like, immediately, pretty much. It was played off kind of good. But I was still very suspicious. But then, like, the day came, and I was like, okay, I actually do think he's proposing to me.
We went down to the river, and we were, like, legit taking senior, they weren't, like, our actual senior pictures, but we were, like, doing pictures. And I had the ring box in my pocket, and we were walking out of the car, like, we had, like, gone in the car back and forth kind of thing, and we were walking out of the car, and it fell to the ground. And I don't know how. I just fell. I was like, oh! And my sister like put her foot right in front of it, and I saw Tail look back right as it fell. And then she looked away really quick. And Jocelyn, like, my sister put her foot right in front of it, and I like picked it up really quick. And I was like, maybe she didn't see it. I was like, she probably saw it.
I saw it 100%. And I also already knew that there was a ring box in his pocket before that moment.
Found a cute little spot. We were taking pictures and proposed.
Yep, it was cute. Very simple. I am obsessed with my ring. I love it, and I look at it and stare at it all day. He did a fantastic job picking it out. We curated our Facebook and Instagram posts. I bought his wedding band. It has been purchased. He has seen it because I unfortunately cannot keep secrets from him.
She kept it a good 20 minutes.
He wasn't even asking. He wasn't even like pressuring me. I just like was so excited to show him, so I did. He's also seen my wedding dress. But that's our story. Now we're engaged. I don't like wedding planning so far. I don't imagine it's going to get any more fun the closer we get to the wedding. But I do have my dress picked out and we have venues booked. Do you have anything to say? Are you excited to marry me?
You'll be alright. Just kidding, of course.
Of course! Oh! That was scary. I want to like say cute things about you, but I feel awkward. I only say cute things about you in song. We love each other. Thanks for watching our video. Okay, this might be like a 40-minute video, but
Enjoy.